Alexa, and I want to talk to you about a quick solution for hearing yourself on stage. This is for singers, of course, but actually for any instrumentalist. So you may know that a wireless in-ear monitoring system can be quite expensive. There's a starting cost around $600 for a Shure model, which is a pretty low-end model. I tried one out and had to return it. And there's also around $1,000 you can start to get maybe a better quality with a Sennheiser. But because I've worked with so many different bands, and obviously volume control is always an issue. But I want to share with you what I've been going through, and this is something that I'm trying to work out prior to going on tour with this 19-piece orchestra that I've been working with, Pacific Mambo Orchestra. So the solution that I've come up with for the meantime, and this is an imperfect solution, I've been using this Rolls. I realize this video will switch it to backwards, but this is a Rolls personal monitor station. This cost about $70 on Amazon. Only problem is I should have returned it as soon as I got it because it did have a high-pitched hum, and so I'm not sure the quality of this is the greatest. Also, you can see it's taped because we had to tape the power supply because it was falling out, and a sound man helped me do this. Did this for me, taped it, and I've left it like this because when the power supply falls out and then plugs back in, it gives you a loud pop in your ears. But the solution, this is a wired solution, so you can buy a $40 version of this. This has both a mic input and a line input, so that you could be listening to an instrument or potentially another line in, like a mix line in. And so you just need some power on stage. You run your XLR cable from your own mic into this box. You run another XLR cable out to the sound person's rig. And then what you do is you use some in-ears, like these are some Shure SC215. These cost about $100, and you use these, and they're nice isolating earphones. So now, better quality than this is to get some custom-made molded earphones, and some people swear by these. However, I want to share with you something really interesting that I've observed. If I have both of these in, both of my ears, I will sing very slightly sharp. And I've noticed this. I was thinking that I was doing it. I wasn't certain, and then I've recorded some stuff just to verify it. And sure enough, if I have both in, because I'm isolated enough, and it's shutting out some of the external skull resonance, and it's giving me it changes your pitch reference. And frankly, that's something that a custom mold can't help you with either, because you're still going to have that change of your pitch reference. So what I usually do is I take out one. So there's good and bad with that. The good is I can sing in tune with the band. The bad is one ear is unprotected. So I'm doing a combination of things with this. You will see a lot of performers with one ear in and one hanging out. That's a very common solution. And it's similar to when you're in the studio and you have cans on, and you take one can off, slightly off your ear, you put it up on your forehead or up back of your head or whatever, because you do need to hear what's around you. And the other advantage is you can hear the audience. So I'm looking at potentially getting a Behringer. There's an even smaller one of these. It's $20 on Amazon. It's a Behringer and actually has really good reviews. To my surprise, Behringer is not a brand necessarily associated with great quality for sound equipment, but I might try that. The other problem with this, of course, is it's wired, so I'm constantly attaching and detaching it. In this particular band, I don't, when I'm moving away from my own microphone, it's because I'm not singing lead, and I'm playing percussion or doing other things, so then I put both my in-ears in. It's protecting my hearing just with the padding of the phones, and then I can move away from my mic or my regular station. When it's time for me to sing backup or sing lead, I plug mine back in, take one out, usually my right goes out, and sing that way. The other thing is that I have an extension so that I have probably about 6 or 8 feet that I can go from this Rolls. The other thing that you can do is that you can buy a mic stand holder for this, and so then you could screw this with these little holes over here. You could screw this onto your mic stand and have it up higher. I'm thinking about that option as well. So I would love your feedback, because this is not an exact science. I have actually sung with bands that had a wireless in-ear system for 5 or 6 singers, and I have to say it wasn't a panacea. There were still issues and problems, mainly because you're still needing a monitor mix is not a easy thing to do, and so the advantage of this is I'm in control. All I need to do is hear myself better. And I'll tell you what, I've been singing so much better, and people notice. It's a huge difference. So I'm not convinced that the wireless is the way to go, and I don't want to necessarily blow $1,000. I have to say the other thing I've been thinking about is buying an E865. I love Sennheiser products. They are really good for my voice because it gives some brightness to my voice. And I noticed that they have a supercardioid condenser. I didn't know that this existed, and this is around $250 or something, $250. I currently use a Sennheiser E945, which is a supercardioid dynamic mic. There's also a Sennheiser E965, and the 965 is around $700. So the other thing is, once you start spending that much money on a mic, you really want to make sure other people aren't going to try to use it or blow into it, and I have to say that still happens for me occasionally. If the sound person isn't doing their job and there's an instrumentalist who wants to get up, or, worst case scenario, this hasn't happened in a long time, but, some drunk person gets up on stage and wants to sing. Anyway, we haven't had that problem for a while, or I haven't had that problem for a while. So I'd love your feedback, because this is an ongoing journey, and making yourself sound better, as a really a well-known musician said to me one time, your microphone is your axe, that's your instrument. And so, you want to basically make the sound just like, he particularly made his instrumental sound coming off stage. He was like, don't mess with it. I've got it where I want it. Well, you want to be able to get your voice close to where you need it coming off stage, because otherwise you're completely in the hands of the sound engineer. And I've heard some debates over whether or not it's good to say have like an effects box of your own. I'm kind of tempted about that, but I've heard other arguments that say the more crap you introduce into the chain up on stage, the harder you make the sound person's job. So, there's pros and cons to everything. For that matter, some people don't like people to use stuff like this, but my argument is, look, it's my voice, it's my hearing. This is my instrument, and I'm not going to sacrifice that for your convenience. So anyway, I'd love to get your feedback, and tell me what you are struggling with in your sound scenarios as a singer. Thanks. Bye.